ਸਵਾਗਤ ਹੈ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਦਾ ਇਨ ਫੋਕਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਟੋਰਾਂਟੋ ਤੋਂ ਮੈਂ ਜਸਲੀਨ ਇੱਕ ਵਾਰੀ ਫਿਰ ਤੋਂ ਹਾਜ਼ਰ ਹਾਂ। ਅੱਜ ਅਸੀਂ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਲਗਾਤਾਰ ਵੱਧ ਰਹੀ ਗਨ ਐਂਡ ਗੈਂਗ ਵਾਇਲੈਂਸ ਦੀ ਤੇ ਨਾਲ ਹੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਖਾਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਓਨਟਾਰੀਓ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੁਝ ਟ੍ਰੈਫਿਕ ਰੂਲਸ ਦੀ ਤੇ ਇਸੇ ਸੰਬੰਧੀ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਲਈ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਟੋਰਾਂਟੋ ਸਰਵਿਸਿਜ਼ ਤੋਂ ਮੌਜੂਦ ਹਨ ਕਾਂਸਟੇਬਲ Giancarlo Marrelli ਅਤੇ ਸ਼ਰਨਜੀਤ ਸੱਗੀ। Hello and welcome to our show.
Thanks very much for having me.
Thank you ji. Sat Shri Akal thanu te thade viewers nu.
Constable Marrelli, this question is for you. I'll start with the increasing gun violence in Toronto. Forget about the monthly or annual figures, but just this civic holiday long weekend, we have seen 14 different shootings and 17 people were shot.
Yeah, it was a very unfortunate weekend. There was a lot going on this weekend. We had Caravana, and as you obviously just said, 14 shootings, 17 people injured. Out of those shootings, based on how big our city is, very low in numbers, which is thankfully that our gun violence is not as big as people believe it is. It's still the safest city in North America. But when it comes to gun violence, unfortunately, it is between the gangs. It's not innocent people that are getting shot. It is between, I guess, turf wars between two different gangs. So I know a lot of people think, the unfortunate incidents that happen down in the States where there's random shootings in, in shopping malls and downtowns. So thankfully, these are gang related, and there are gang members getting shot. Unfortunately, sometimes there are innocent people getting shot. But overall, the city is very safe city of Toronto. We do have officers that are ongoing investigating these shootings, and hopefully we are very close to arresting the people that are involved.
So we know that Toronto Mayor John Tory, he's urging again and again to ban the handguns. But on the other side, Ontario government, they say that banning a handgun is not an effective way to combat or to deal with the guns and gangs. You work as a first responder. Do you think that banning a handgun is somewhere going to address the gun violence? And now even I think Ottawa and Montreal municipalities, even they are requesting a handgun ban.
So when it comes to handgun bans, of course, definitely anything we can do to combat that issue that we're having. And to blanket everyone is not a fair thing to do, but at the same time is a beneficial thing to do. We do have people that have handguns that do follow the rules of storage, properly storing their weapons and out of the hands of the wrong people. We do have, unfortunately, some people that don't follow the rules, and they unfortunately the house gets broken into and it gets into the wrong people's hands. So it is like a double-edged sword at the same time. You do have the enthusiasts that are, they're enthusiasts that collect guns, that go to the shooting range and have it as a hobby. You have some people that just have a handgun just to have. So when it comes to the bans, of course, anything to help us combat the issue that we're having is always a win.
Before I come to you, Constable Sharanjit Saggi, I would like to tell my viewers that Constable Sharanjit Saggi, Toronto Police Officer ਦੇ ਨਾਲ as a frontline officer ਕੰਮ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ and ਸਾਨੂੰ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਨਸਰਸ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਕੋਲੋਂ ਮਿਲਣਗੇ। ਸ਼ਰਨਜੀਤ ਸੱਗੀ ਜੀ, ਅਸੀਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਤੋਂ ਜਾਣਨਾ ਚਾਹਾਂਗੇ ਕਿ ਹੈਂਡਗਨ ਬੈਨ ਲਗਾਉਣਾ ਕਿੰਨਾ ਕੁ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਹੈਗਾ, ਕਿੰਨਾ ਲਾਜ਼ਮੀ ਹੈਗਾ। ਡੈਫੀਨੇਟਲੀ GTA ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਤੇ ਗਨ ਐਂਡ ਗੈਂਗ ਵਾਇਲੈਂਸ ਦੀ ਪ੍ਰੋਬਲਮ ਵੱਧਦੀ ਜਾ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ, ਖਾਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਜੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਸਰੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਗੱਲ ਕਰੀਏ ਤੇ ਸਰੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ 'ਚ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਗੈਂਗ ਵਾਇਲੈਂਸ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ। ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਕੀ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਇਹ ਦਿਨੋਂ ਦਿਨ ਵੱਧ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ, ਕੀ ਕਾਰਨ ਹੈ ਇਸ ਦਾ ਐਂਡ ਕਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਇਹਨੂੰ ਕੰਟਰੋਲ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਐਂਡ ਹੈਂਡਗਨ ਤੇ ਬੈਨ ਹੋਣਾ ਕਿੰਨਾ ਕੁ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਹੈਗਾ, ਕਿੰਨਾ ਲਾਜ਼ਮੀ ਹੈਗਾ?
ਸੀ ਬਹੁਤ ਇੰਪੋਰਟੈਂਟ ਹੈਗਾ, ਬਟ Vancouver, I don't know key stats, but in Toronto, I know ਸਾਡੇ Toronto police, mayors, different communities, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਨਾ ਬੜੇ program ਕੀਤੇ ਹੋਏ ਆ. So young kids, when they're growing up, they're not on the street playing bored ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ, what to do, this and that. They involve in basketball, they involve in cricket, that's a new growing sport now. They involve in outer school programs. ਉੱਥੇ ਜੋ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ ਉਹ ਫਿਰ ਟਾਈਮ ਵੇਸਟ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਦੇ, ਦੇ ਮੀਟ ਐਂਡ ਗ੍ਰੀਟ ਦੇ ਵੈਲ ਐਜੂਕੇਟਡ ਪੀਪਲ, ਐਂਡ ਦੇ ਇਨਵੋਲਵ ਇਨ ਅ ਪੋਜ਼ਿਟਿਵ ਇਨਵਾਇਰਮੈਂਟ। ਪਲੱਸ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਆ ਟੋਰਾਂਟੋ 'ਚ, ਆਈ ਨੋ ਰੀਸੈਂਟਲੀ ਵੀ ਹੈਡ ਅ ਗਨ ਕਲੈਕਟ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਮੇਅਰ ਟੋਰੀ ਨੇ ਸਟਾਰਟ ਕੀਤਾ ਸੀਗਾ। ਆਈ ਬਿਲੀਵ ਇਟ ਵਾਜ਼ ਜਸਟ ਫॉर ਦ ਸਿਟੀ ਆਫ ਟੋਰਾਂਟੋ, ਬਟ ਆਮ ਨਾਟ 100% ਸ਼ੋਰ। ਹੈਂਡਗਨਸ ਨੂੰ ਟਰਨ ਇਨ ਕਰੋ, ਯੂ ਗੈਟ ਕੈਸ਼ ਰਿਵਾਰਡ ਫॉर ਇਟ। ਫਰੋਮ ਮਾਈ ਐਕਸਪੀਰੀਅੰਸ, ਆਈ ਬੀਨ ਵਰਕਿੰਗ, both of us actually we came on together for almost 14-15 years now. Mayor Tory ne kita siga. It's every few years we do that. You turn in a gun, and I've seen as a frontline officer, I see people turning guns in. Ek adhi gun nahi turn in karde si. People were turning in 10, 12, 10 in a bulk. Some people don't know what to do with the guns. Some people, they know what to do, but they don't want to have nothing to do with it. They don't want their guns to be stolen. वो नहीं चाहते कि साढ़े घरों को break in करके चोरी कर लवे. It ends up in the wrong hand. कोई innocent बेचारा shot and killed हो जाए. So that's a great way to get rid of the guns. People who don't want it. Ultimately, I think it has to be, storage is a big factor. How you store it, where you store it. Because as a legal gun owner, I know why are you banning it? But the issue is, if they get, for example, person A party has 10 guns, right? Legally, everything is, he has a hobby, he goes hunting, he goes shooting, everything is great. But he's gone on a vacation. Somebody knows he has the guns at his house is going to get broken into, or something happen, not all the time, but I'm just giving you stats. Those guns are going to be stolen and they're going to end up in a wrong hand. Wrong hand, the criminals are, they're going to use it for shooting, rental kardeya, homicide. That's why we had that great program. As we turn in gun kardeya, then we check them out, what's going on, are they used, or then we eventually destroy it. Ultimately, we have a lot of communities coming to Canada. Diverse country, a lot of people are coming. Everybody has a different way of thinking. Back home is easy to carry, whatever it is. Over here, we have to stay with the law, follow the law. Personally, front hand, I think it's an issue for us. I think it should be banned, but everybody has a different views.
I hope these cases will start to decline soon. But moving on to the next topic now, another major issue, Toronto, not just Toronto, I would say Canada is experiencing is speeding. So soon the photo technology will be introduced to catch the drivers who speed.
Yes.
What will be the procedure for that?
So when it comes to photo radar, especially here in Toronto, they're all going to be strictly in the school zones. So anywhere where there's a school, not every location, however, they're going to pick locations throughout the city of Toronto. We're going to look at technology to help us, which is the photo radar. So those are great to help us relieve some of the pressure that we're facing. That, just this past weekend, there was a 20-year-old going 228 kilometers an hour. I understand it's not on the highway, but still, at the same time, it frees up us from a community complaint up to those high speeders, the high flyers. So these are just how I think it was back in the 90s when we had it on the highway. Same thing. It will have a registered, have a radar gun on it. It will be very accurate on which cars they pick, and it'll take a picture of the speed, and then obviously goes up to the registered owner. So these are great advancements. Just like another advance that we use is the red light cameras. Another great tool that we are able to free up officers that don't have to sit at every light. We look at intersections that have a lot of high collisions, and then same thing with those. They take a picture of your car prior to the white line with the light, how fast you were going. These machines are very accurate when they are explaining the actual charge itself, how fast you were going, how long the light was red for. It's amazing when you see these pictures. And then, unfortunately, the registered owner is not going to be happy. So you got to be aware of if it is your vehicle and you're lending it out to people, and especially, unfortunately, I don't want to pinpoint, but these are younger people that are taking risk with the speeding, especially. So if you are giving your car out to anybody, you be aware that you could be on the hook for a red light camera if they were to go through the light.
Constable Saggi, जिस तरह ਅਸੀਂ स्पीडिंग ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ, ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਸੇਫਟੀ ਜ਼ੋਨ ਜਾਂ ਸਕੂਲਿੰਗ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰੀਏ, ਉੱਥੇ ਦੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਸਪੀਡ ਲਿਮਿਟ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ that's 40 km/h, ਲੇਕਿਨ ਅਸੀਂ ਅੱਜ ਵੀ ਜੇ ਦੇਖੀਏ ਈਜ਼ੀਲੀ ਵੀ ਕੈਨ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਲੋਕੀ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਨੇ ਉਹ 70 ਜਾਂ 80 km/h ਦੀ ਸਪੀਡ ਤੇ ਡਰਾਈਵ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ.
Yes, absolutely. ਇਸੇ ਕਰਕੇ there's a fines different community safety zone, the fines we double up. I think the points are probably the same, but the fines definitely the higher, penalties are higher. And because of that, because highway, like my partner mentioned, we see it almost every weekend. These are the people get caught. Jede pad hunde ya 200 be very fast. Inni cheti nahi gaddi rukni te you can't prevent it. And I call in my terminology, it's a weapon. If you can't control it, you don't know which innocent driver. You could be going with your family, driving along, nice vacation, going home, and somebody flying down lost control and hit you, and knock on wood, something bad going to happen. So that's why we are targeting that. But it's not, like my partner mentioned, it's not just Toronto's problem. It's everywhere. Speeders are everywhere. So what we can do, that's why I think, if I'm not mistaken, we could only talk about Toronto right now, but Toronto stats, we're getting double the red light cameras as of next year. About 200 or so, and we're also getting speeders, cameras coming community safety zone, because our kids are more vulnerable. It's pedestrian against a car. So as along the impact with that is oda ki hunda je for example, अगर तुम drive करते हैं, you know that particular location has a camera there. Naturally, you're gonna like, even though it's gonna catch you speeding or not, whatever the issue is, but naturally you're gonna go approach to the intersection, you're gonna slow down, pretend, oh my God, I don't want to get a ticket. फिर तुसी हौली जाना. So if you do once, twice, it hopefully becomes a habit, and because you're doing it, people in a car will be करनेंगे, people around you watching. So ultimately, that's our goal, to slow you down. Plus, we have about 800 or so schools in city of Toronto. We cannot be there at every school. So technology is out there. As our chief, our mayors, as they're saying, we need to have a technology help us. So that's why it should be a great opportunity for us. So we have it there and we can use it.
ਕਾਂਸਟੇਬਲ ਮਰੈਲੀ ਇੱਕ ਰੈੱਡ ਲਾਈਟ ਕੈਮਰੇ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਸੀਗੇ, ਪਰ ਕਾਫੀ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਸਵਾਲ ਇਹ ਵੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਜਦੋਂ ਰੈੱਡ ਲਾਈਟ ਕ੍ਰਾਸ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ ਤੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਫੋਟੋ ਖਿੱਚੀ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ ਐਂਡ ਦੈਨ ਦੇ ਗੈਟ ਅ ਫਾਈਨ ਐਟ ਹੋਮ, ਲੇਕਿਨ ਉਹ ਕਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਦਾ ਹੈ? ਬਿਕੋਜ਼ ਆਮ ਪ੍ਰੀਟੀ ਸ਼ੋਰ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਲੋਕੀ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਦੇਖ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਮਨਾਂ 'ਚ ਕਈ ਸਵਾਲ ਹੋਣਗੇ, ਵੈਨ ਯੂ ਕ੍ਰਾਸ ਦ ਯੈਲੋ ਲਾਈਟ ਇਵਨ ਦੈਟਸ ਇਨਕਲੂਡਡ, ਔਰ ਵੈਨ ਯੂ ਕ੍ਰਾਸ ਦ ਰੈੱਡ ਲਾਈਟ?
First of all, yellow light, there's actually a charge for that. Fail to stop for amber light. So I can tell you, first of all, you have to go slow down because you can't stop that fast, right?
Yeah.
But even though you go through amber light, there's also a charge for it. Red light that you fail to stop for red light, but also a charge for amber light. But let's just say you went through red light, the ticket that comes on through the camera, it only get issued to the owner of the vehicle. Because I don't know whose car de vich kaun hai, mainu thodi pata, camera nu thodi pata kaun hai. So the owner of the vehicle will get the ticket issued to them at the registered owner's house. Actually, I want to bring another point to owners. Please update karo ministry nu thwada home address kitte hai, because I, as a frontline officer, I see a lot of, I'm going to get into a different topic now, younger kids, students coming to Canada. They have address somewhere else, but they're driving in Brampton. They have address in I see a front and Windsor, New Brunswick, wherever. They're driving over here. When they get a ticket or red light speeding, they're like, we weren't notified, and they have a license suspended. So they're like, we weren't notified. But ministry did their due diligence, because ministry ne thonu ticket page diti at their residence, jitte car register.
Yeah.
But you don't no longer live there, you don't get a letter. It's not ministry's problem. You have 6 days to notify the ministry at the change of address. Even though car bhi buy kiti hai, you have to let the ministry know कि ਅਸੀਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਰਹਿ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ, ਇਹ ਸਾਡਾ address ਆ. In case anything happen, it comes here.
Absolutely, and I think that's another offense that ਤੁਸੀਂ address ਕਿਸੇ ਹੋਰ ਜਗ੍ਹਾ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਡਰਾਈਵ ਕਿਤੇ ਹੋਰ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ, ਰਹਿ ਕਿਤੇ ਹੋਰ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ. ਸਵਾਲ ਹੋਰ ਵੀ ਨੇ, ਅਸੀਂ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਦਾ ਸਿਲਸਿਲਾ ਇਸੇ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਜਾਰੀ ਰੱਖਾਂਗੇ. ਫਿਲਹਾਲ ਸਮਾਂ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ ਇੱਕ ਛੋਟੀ ਜਿਹੀ ਬ੍ਰੇਕ ਦਾ. ਬ੍ਰੇਕ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਜਲਦ ਹਾਜ਼ਰ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਹਾਂ. ਬ੍ਰੇਕ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਦਾ ਇੱਕ ਵਾਰ ਫਿਰ ਤੋਂ ਸਵਾਗਤ ਹੈ. ਸਾਡੀ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਚੱਲ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ ਟੋਰਾਂਟੋ ਪੁਲਿਸ ਸਰਵਿਸਿਜ਼ ਤੋਂ ਕਾਂਸਟੇਬਲ Giancarlo Marrelli ਅਤੇ ਸ਼ਰਨਜੀਤ ਸੱਗੀ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ. Constable Marrelli, I would like to ask you about the Ontario driving rules. Whether it is impaired driving, distracted driving, or overspeeding, Ontario now has the toughest penalties. But still, we see a lot of people getting charged for this.
Yeah, you're right. So actually, they're all separate. So you got speeding is one category. Your impaired driving is another one, and distracted driving. So distracted driving, yeah, you're right. There are serious penalties now that have been increased as of January. And if people don't know, your first offense, if you're caught with your cell phone, is a 3-day suspension, up to $1,000 in fines and 3 points. Second time you're caught, it's a 7-day suspension, 6 demerit points and $2,000. And then your third and subsequent charges is going to be a $3,000 charge, a 30-day suspension, and 6 demerit points. So the ministry has obviously observed there's an ongoing issue with distracted driving. And when I say distracted driving, we're looking at the cell phones. Cell phones now are, your whole world revolves around a cell phone now. Everything you want is in your palm, in your hands. So I understand distracted driving is also applying the makeup, eating something in the vehicle. That is something separate as well. But when we're talking about the suspensions and how the higher fines is because of the cell phone use.
Yeah.
We do see a lot of people texting while they're driving. Picking up their phones, you can tell when someone's looking at their phone because they're looking over and you can see their hands going. That is your distracted driving. And a scary stat is that more people are being killed because of distracted drivers than impaired drivers. And so that is a huge stat where it's scary, where people, It's an addiction. Having a phone in your hand, it's so addictive. 'Cause I do presentations with a lot of students, and when I tell them, I say, okay, when you hear your phone vibrate, or even just any phone vibrate, everyone has an automatic reaction to go pick up and check their phone. This is what we're trying to break that, especially when it comes to driving. The task should be on driving, not on your cell phone. And unfortunately, and people believe that holding your phone up just like this, not to your ear, is still a charge. At a red light, I know it's a big, people believe that because you're stopped, you can be on your cell phone. As long as you're in a live lane of traffic, if you are using your cell phone, don't be surprised if an officer is going to come knock on your window and say, okay, pull over, because guess what? There's a charge for that. It doesn't even have to be on. All you have to do is hold your phone in your hands. It doesn't have to be on or moving anything. As long as it's in your hand, it's enough for a charge.
ਕੋਲੀਜਨ ਇਨਵੈਸਟੀਗੇਸ਼ਨ ਦੀ ਜੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਗੱਲ ਕਰੀਏ ਤੇ ਜਦੋਂ ਵੀ ਕੋਈ ਕੋਲੀਜਨ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਸੈੱਲ ਫੋਨ ਰੈਕੋਰਡਸ ਦੀ ਪਰਮਿਸ਼ਨ ਮਿਲਦੀ ਹੈ ਲਾਈਕ ਆਰ ਯੂ ਅਲਾਉਡ ਟੂ ਟੇਕ ਐਨੀ ਸੈੱਲ ਫੋਨ ਰੈਕੋਰਡਸ ਸੋ ਦੈਟ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਚੱਲ ਸਕੇ ਕਿ ਜਦੋਂ ਵੀ ਕੋਲੀਜਨ ਹੋਇਆ ਤੇ ਹੂ ਵਾਸ ਇਨ ਫਾਲਟ
ਇਹਦਾ what happens is we usually as an officers we only because it's not easy to look into a data ਕਿ ਕਿੱਥੇ ਚਲਾ ਰਿਹਾ ਸੀ ਕੀ ਕਾਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਸੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਯੂਜ਼ ਕਰਦੇ ਸੀ ਜਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਦੇ ਸੀ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਾਸਤੇ we only Toronto police we try to go for when there's a seriously bodily harm or death ਤੁਹਾਡੇ accident because a result from the accident some way shape or form ਕਿਸੇ ਦੀ death ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਆ ਜਾਂ serious bodily harm ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੈਗਾ then ਅਸੀਂ ਫਿਰ car seize ਕਰ ਲਈਦੀ ਆ with the search warrant we go get a search warrant for your cell phone records then we do it but for minor fender bender ਹਾਂਜੀ touch ਹੋ ਗਿਆ it's not easy either, right? But yes, we do get a permission. We need to get permission from the judge, just of the peace. We need to type a search warrant. Why we need to go after your phone? Because it's a privacy issue too, right? So we just can't go in there like that. So we have to write a search warrant, get an authorization from the courts, from the justice of the peace, so judge. Fair we go after your phone and your car. We seize all of these things. Only, from my experience, unless Marrelli, you've seen something a little different, serious bodily harm.
ਯੂਜੂਲੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਦੇਖਿਆ ਕਿ ਟ੍ਰੈਫਿਕ ਰੂਲਸ ਕਾਫੀ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਡਿਸਕਸ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਆਮ ਗੱਡੀਆਂ ਦੇ ਲਈ ਲੇਕਿਨ ਕਮਰਸ਼ੀਅਲੀ ਜਿਸ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰੀਏ ਤੇ ਇੰਨੇ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਡਿਸਕਸ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਸੋ ਮੋਸਟ ਆਫ ਦ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਦੀ ਜਿਸ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰੀਏ ਤੇ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾਤਰ ਟਰੱਕ ਡਰਾਈਵਰ ਸਾਡੇ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਨੇ ਕਮਰਸ਼ੀਅਲ ਰੂਲਸ ਦੀ ਜਿਸ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰੀਏ ਤੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਲਈ ਕੀ ਰੂਲਸ ਨੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਐਲਕੋਹਲ ਲੈਵਲ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਕਿੰਨਾ ਹੋਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਹੈ
ਕਮਰਸ਼ੀਅਲਸ ਰੀਸੈਂਟਲੀ ਐਜ਼ ਆਫ December 2018, rules change ਹੋਏ ਸੀ alcohol ਦੇ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਦੇ so as long commercial driver while you operating a commercial vehicle zero alcohol ਕੁਛ ਨਹੀਂ alcohol ਹੋਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਕੋਈ ਸਿਪ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੋਈ ਹੁਣੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਮੈਂ ਘਰੋਂ ਨਿਕਲਿਆ wine nothing while you operating a commercial vehicle right second now for example you have a commercial motor vehicle license AZ heavy license ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਾਰ ਚਲਾ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ you're no longer operating a commercial vehicle, then you are authorized, but odi limit. Now, I'm going to get into a little bit extra topic, Punjabi community apne vaste. As of December December 2018, we had a new law introduced to police. We have a approved screening device. We call it MAS. Officer ne jadon thanu front line te rokya, if he has a roadside available to him, or anytime keh sakda aalo ji ch fuk maro. There's no longer, before that, we needed to have a suspicion ki, oh, I smell alcohol off your breath, mainu thodi piti lagdi ya, something is different, there's alcohol involved. Now, it's no longer the case. Once we see you, once I stop you legally, and I have the roadside available to me in my car, I can ask you, okay, ma'am, sir, blow into this.
But what if someone refuses it?
Oda be consequences same as impaired, for example. ਤੁਸੀਂ refuse ਕਰ ਦੇਣੇ officer on the stand right there and then 7 days ਲਈ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਗੱਡੀ impound ਕਰ ਦੇਣੀ ਹੈ 90 days ਵਾਸਤੇ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ license right there and then ਉਹਨੇ suspend ਕਰ ਦੇਣਾ you have the same consequences as a criminal charge face ਕਰਨਾ you get a form 9 on the stand only even ਤੁਸੀਂ refuse ਕਰ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਜੇ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ record clear ਆ ਫਿਰ officer ਨੇ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਜਾਣ ਦੇਣਾ ਉੱਥੋਂ otherwise you are under arrest and then they're going to take you to even though ਤੁਸੀਂ refuse ਕਰਤਾ but you have a pre-existing condition ਤੁਹਾਡਾ record ਹੈਗਾ you're not supposed to be driving whatever the case might be ਫਿਰ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਅਸੀਂ station ਲੈ ਜਾਣਾ ਉੱਥੇ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਅਸੀਂ show cause ਕਰਨੀ ਆ different sets of paperwork ਫਿਰ next day or same day ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ judge ਦੇ ਤੋਂ ਪੇਸ਼ ਕਰਨਾ this is a consequence but to refuse it on a roadside simple scenario simple guy no previous record ਉਹਨੂੰ release ਕਰ ਦੇਣਾ with the court date
Talking about careless driving, what do you do when someone is involved in serious collision?
एक्सीडेंट हो ਜਾਂਦਾ अगर स्ट्रीट ते ਹੁੰਦਾ सिटी स्ट्रीट yes you're not cars ਇੰਨੀਆਂ ਤੇਜ਼ ਨਹੀਂ ਜਾਂਦੀਆਂ the point is everybody has phones take a picture of the driver license ownership insurance or write it down whatever you're comfortable with but you want to make sure you identify the driver right and then pull to the side if your car is drivable ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਰੀ I see lot of time from my experience I see on a highway ਲੋਕੀ ਉੱਥੇ ਪਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਿਹਨੂੰ ਫੋਨ ਕਰਦੇ ਪਏ ਆ cars are broken in 2 lanes they're standing to the side why wasting time because of them now pura every 410 everything is backed up you don't know till where and everybody's frustrated ਕਦੋਂ clear ਹੋਗਾ one time so let's clear this avoid ਤਾਂ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੀ community ਨੂੰ ਮੈਂ educate ਕਰ ਸਕਾਂ ਕਿ accident ਹੋਇਆ exchange information if your car you want to call there's nothing wrong with calling police call police 911 hey I'm involved in an accident so there's a record of it a lot of people they ask me on the air ਆਫਸਰ ਇਹਦਾ ਕੋਈ ਰੈਕਡ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਾਲ ਕਰ ਲਓ ਨਾਮ ਦੱਸ ਦਿਓ ਕਿ ਐਟਲੀਸਟ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਾਲ ਕੀਤੀ ਆ ਐਕਸਚੇਂਜ ਕਰੋ ਓਨਲੀ ਇਨ ਸਿਟੀ ਆਫ ਟੋਰਾਂਟੋ ਦਾ ਮੈਂ ਕਹਿ ਰਿਹਾ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਡਿਫਰੈਂਟ ਜੁਰਿਸਡਿਕਸ਼ਨ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁਣ ਬਰੈਂਪਟਨ ਦਾ ਕੀ ਰੂਲ ਹੈਗਾ ਮਾਈ ਅੰਡਰਸਟੈਂਡਿੰਗ ਬਰੈਂਪਟਨ ਡਜ਼ਨਟ ਹੈਵ CRC ਬਟ you have to call let them know ask get a direction of a dispatcher what should I do right but the point is if it is a highway doesn't matter where it is across the board minor accident exchange information, move to the side. As long as you have the driver license, ownership, insurance, these are the 3 things you need to have under the Highway Traffic Act. And then if you're in the city of Toronto, you go there. If there's injuries involved, go injured or hospital, yes, then a police, we have to attend and investigate it on scene.
I have a lot of questions, but I don't have enough time. So in the end, I would like to ask you about the hiring process.
Yeah.
I know Toronto Police is always looking for new officers.
Yes.
So what is the hiring process?
ਤੁਸੀਂ ਟੋਰਾਂਟੋ ਪੁਲਿਸ ਦੀ ਵੈਬਸਾਈਟ ਤੇ ਜਾਓ torontopolice.on.ca ਉੱਥੇ ਰਿਕਰੂਟਰ ਨਾਲ ਗੱਲ ਕਰੋ we have a recruitment unit or any other police not just specifically Toronto PO York OPP wherever you're interested that's the thing ਉੱਥੇ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਕਰੋ but right now Toronto is hiring so ਮੈਂ ਚਾਹਨਾ ਮੇਰੇ community members ਨੂੰ if you have a recommendation ਥੋੜੀ ਜਿਹੀ you have to have grade 12 minimum you have to have G-class license you have to have a CPR obviously clean record is a big thing there's few other things
Uncorrected eyes.
Corrected eyes. You can be colorblinded, right? Because a lot of people that pass the test, they can't see red and green, a certain mixture of it, right? So you have to, excuse me, we have something called PrEP test you have to go through, PADI, and it's a combination of several things. You have to get a certificate. Or the fees are about $200, $300, $400. You do that. They give you a certificate. Or then you apply to different police services. ਉਹ Ontario ਦਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ Ontario OPP Toronto PO York whoever you're interested with ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉੱਤੇ ਅਪਲਾਈ ਕਰੋ and then the process starts ਫਿਰ ਇੰਟਰਵਿਊ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਆ but ਮੈਂ viewers ਨੂੰ ਇੱਕ tip of advice ਇਹ ਦੇਣੀ ਚਾਹਨਾ ਕਿ Toronto Police I know for sure ਸਾਡੇ ਹੈਗੇ mentoring sessions where the recruiters educate you look we're looking for this because a lot of people everybody wants to be like ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਕਿ ਮੈਂ ਪੁਲਿਸ ਵਾਲਾ ਬਣਨਾ there might be something missing so before you get into the process prepare yourself.
Thank you so much for coming to our studio and sharing all that information with us. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Definitely. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. ਇਨ ਫੋਕਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਹ ਸੀ ਸਾਡੀ ਅੱਜ ਦੀ ਖਾਸ ਮੁਲਾਕਾਤ ਟੋਰਾਂਟੋ ਪੁਲਿਸ ਸਰਵਿਸਿਜ਼ ਦੇ ਕਾਂਸਟੇਬਲਸ ਨਾਲ ਉਮੀਦ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਸਾਡੀ ਅੱਜ ਦੀ ਇਹ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਪਸੰਦ ਆਈ ਹੋਵੇਗੀ ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਵੀ ਆਪਣਾ ਕੋਈ ਵਿਚਾਰ ਸਾਂਝਾ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਹੋ ਤੇ ਲਿਖ ਕੇ ਭੇਜੋ feedback@ptcnetwork.com ਤੇ ਅਗਲੇ ਹਫਤੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਮੁੜ ਤੋਂ ਹਾਜ਼ਰ ਹੋਵਾਂਗੇ ਨਵੇਂ ਮਹਿਮਾਨ ਅਤੇ ਨਵੇਂ ਮੁੱਦੇ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਉਦੋਂ ਤੱਕ ਦਿਓ ਇਜਾਜ਼ਤ ਧੰਨਵਾਦ